Hi everyone. This morning I wanted to begin reading a chapter book to you all, and I know we haven't gotten the chance as a class yet to read a chapter book, so I thought this would be kind of a fun time to start that. And I'm going to be reading this book. It's called The Giraffe, Pelly and Me, and this is a book by Roald Dahl, who's a super famous children's book author. He's written lots of wonderful chapter books and short stories for kids, and I hope that as you all become stronger readers, you'll be able to enjoy some of his works, and today I wanted to share this one with you, or begin sharing it. So since it's a chapter book, we're just going to read little chunks each day, and I'm going to end the section that we read each day with a question that you can think about and talk about with someone at home, or you can write a little bit about the question, whatever feels like the best way to respond for you. So here's the beginning part of The Giraffe, Pelly and Me, written by Roald Dahl and illustrated by Quentin Blake. Not far from where I live, there is a queer old empty wooden house standing all by itself on the side of the road. I long to explore inside it, but the door is always locked, and when I peer through a window, all I can see is darkness and dust. I know the ground floor used to once be a shop because I can still read the faded lettering across the front, which says, "The Grubber." My mother has told me that in our part of the country, in the olden days, a grubber was another name for a sweet shop. And now every time I look at it, I think to myself, what a lovely old sweet shop it must have been. On the shop window itself, somebody has painted in white the words, "For Sale." One morning, I noticed that "For Sale" had been scraped off the shop window, and in its place, somebody had painted "Sold." I stood there, staring at the new writing, and wishing like mad that it had been me who had bought it, because then I would have been able to make it into a grubber all over again. I've always longed and longed to own a sweet shop. The sweet shop of my dreams would be loaded from top to bottom with sherbet suckers and caramel fudge and Russian toffee and sugar snorters and butter gumballs and thousands of other glorious things like that. Oh boy, what I wouldn't have done with that old grubber shop if it could have been mine. On my next visit to the grubber, I was standing across the road, gazing at the wonderful old building, when suddenly an enormous bathtub came sailing out through one of the second floor windows and crashed right into the middle of the road. And here's a picture for you all. A few moments later, a white porcelain lavatory pan with a wooden seat still on it came flying out of the window, it's a toilet, and landed with a wonderful splintering crash just beside the bathtub. This was followed by a kitchen sink and an empty canary cage and 4-poster bed and 2 hot water bottles and a rocking horse and a sewing machine and goodness knows what else besides. It looked as though some madman was ripping out the whole of the inside of the house, because now pieces of staircase and bits of the banisters and a whole lot of old floorboards came whistling through the windows. Then there was silence. I waited and waited, but not another sound came from within the building. I crossed the road and stood right under the windows and called out, "Is anybody home?" There was no answer. In the end, it began to get so dark that I had to turn away and start walking home. But you can bet your life, nothing was going to stop me from hurrying back there again tomorrow morning to see what the next surprise was going to be. That's all the stuff flying out of the house. When I got back to the grubber house the next morning, the first thing I noticed was the new door. The dirty old brown door had been taken out, and in its place, someone had fitted a brand new red one. The new red door was fantastic. It was twice as high as the other one had been, and it looked ridiculous. I couldn't begin to imagine who would want a tremendous tall door like that in this house unless it was a giant. As well as this, somebody had scraped away the "Sold" notice on the shop window, and now there was a whole lot of different writing all over the glass. I stood there reading it and trying to figure out what on earth it meant. And on the window it says, "The Ladderless Window Cleaning Company. Get your windows cleaned without a lot of dirty ladders leaning against your house." There's the giant door and the boys looking at the door. And friends, sometimes, in this story, this boy is the main character, but he doesn't have a name. And so sometimes that is a choice that an author makes. So when we're talking about the main character, we might just need to call him the boy or the main character. I'm going to keep reading. I tried to catch some sign or sound of movement inside the house, but there was none, until all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, noticed that one of the windows on the top floor was slowly beginning to open outwards. Then a head appeared at the open window. I stared at the head. The head stared back at me with big, round, dark eyes. Suddenly, a second window was flung wide open, and of all the crazy things, a gigantic white bird hopped out and perched on the windowsill. I knew what this one was because of its amazing beak, which was shaped like a huge orange-colored basin. The pelican looked down at me and sang out, "Oh, how I wish for a big fat fish. I'm as hungry as ever could be. A dish of fish is my only wish. How far away are we from the sea?" So now we have some new characters who are introduced. We have a giraffe and a pelican. And if you don't know what a pelican is, you could ask someone at home to look up a picture for you because they're really interesting birds. They are big white birds with giant orange beaks, and their beak, which we'll learn in the story, has something really special about it, which I won't give away yet. "We are a long way from the sea," I called back to him, "but there's a fishmonger in the village, not far away." "A fish what?" "A fishmonger." "Now, what on earth would that be?" asked the pelican. "I have heard of fish pie and fish cake and fish finger, but I've never heard of a fishmonger. Are these mongers good to eat?" This question baffled me a bit, so I said, "Who is your friend in the next window?" "She is the giraffe," the pelican answered. "Is she not wonderful? Her legs are on the ground floor and her head is looking up out of the top of the window." As if this wasn't enough, the window on the first floor now flung open, and out popped a monkey. The monkey stood on the windowsill and did a jiggly little dance. He was so skinny he seemed to be made only out of furry bits of wire, but he danced wonderfully well, and I clapped and cheered and did a little dance myself in return. So we're going to stop here for today, friends. And so my question for you today is going to be pretty simple. I just want to know, because we're going to be practicing retelling with this story. So what I want to know is two things. I want to know what is the setting of the story, and I want to know who are the characters so far in the story. And so this is something that you can tell someone at home. You can create your own story map if you'd like, and I'll include one in our schedule for the week so that you can have it to look at or to print out at home. And so those are my two questions for today. I just want to know the setting and the characters in the story so far. And we'll be talking more about the characters, their feelings, and the conflicts that come up, the problems in the story, and at the very end, we'll be talking about the resolution. So we're going to be focusing on story elements with this story to help us retell. And I hope you enjoyed the beginning part of the draft, The Pelly and Me. I love this story, and I can't wait to keep reading it with you tomorrow. Hope you all have a great day.